What's up, Soul Tribe family? Welcome to another episode 37 of Soul Seek Conversations, our mental health podcast for resilient humans on the grow. My name is Soliel Lindsey. I'm the owner of Soul Rise Essentials. What do we do here? We offer mental health apparel, jewelry, and accessories for children and for adults. And our mission is to shine a bright, big old light, honey, on mental health and mental wellness for all across the globe. So essentially, we do that through our products, our mental health merch that we just talked about, and now public speaking services. So before we get into the episode, I just want to give a few announcements and updates and just connect with the Soul Tribe family. But first, why does this podcast exist? Soul Seek Conversations exists to share stories of resilience, build global community, and for you to discover new ways to thrive via the brave voices of others. And the brave voice that we have coming through today to sit in the soul seat is my boy Terrill. We're going to be talking with him in a little bit. Shout out to the Soul Tribe family. I see y'all joining. I even see people who've been on the podcast before. What's up, y'all? Love y'all so much. So guess what? I just got back in town from Atlanta, a whole week trip on business at the NMSDC conference. A part of this business is growth, right? And so government contracting has been a space that we've gotten into, and it is a whole new world. When I tell y'all my brain feels like it's about to explode, I've learned so many new things, met so many new people, and I'm still learning, still meeting people, but NMSDC knows how to throw a conference. There were over 500 exhibitors there, and I'm talking about huge names that all of y'all know. Little old me and my business was there with my cohort members, and we had a time, we had a ball, and I met so many amazing people, government agencies, and huge international and national businesses. And I am just so grateful for that experience. I am still floating on cloud 9 because, honey, at the gala and the awards ceremony, they always invite us special guests, honey, and little old me got to meet and sing, hold hands with, and be serenaded by Eric Benet, child. Listen, I ain't even gonna hold y'all. At my age group, you have to be a certain kind of old soul to appreciate somebody like Eric Benet, baby. And I know them songs, honey. He was singing Chocolate Legs. It came up, it was like, and I was like, me? Y'all, I fangirled out. We had a ball. I did not know I was going to be at a concert. I was just there for a conference. I loved Atlanta. It owes me nothing. I want to give my deepest gratitude to the I program, to Lasagna Berry, all of my cohort members, and to the NMSDC conference, and just NMSDC in general for helping me on this new journey and continue to grow my business as a certified minority business enterprise. I know y'all hearing all these A, B, C, D, elemental P, H, I, J, K. Did I just mess up the ABCs? Anyway, I know you probably don't know what that means, but it's huge for my company. So the next update I wanted to let you guys know is that I have an assist training, and it's essentially, where's my paper because I don't want to say it wrong. Hold on now. It is a suicide intervention, essentially a suicide first aid training. And so I went through that earlier this month, and I got my certificate. So if anybody around me, whether it be in person, online, somebody close to me, a stranger, maybe struggling with suicide ideation, I have been equipped through that training with tools to be able to keep them safe for now. My job is not to save a life, but it's to keep someone safe for now in that moment when they are experiencing those ideations, and to let them know that they are not alone. So I did that, and just so much learning. Thank y'all. Thank you. What's up, C with G? Thank you for being here. I'm excited for you to listen and for y'all to meet Terrill as well. Man, I'm just the professional and personal growth has just been blowing my mind. God is so good all the time, and I wanted to share that with you as well. Also, we got a ton of new merch. First of all, I know y'all see the orange and the black. It's on trend with Halloween today, and we got crew necks. Y'all have been asking for crew neck sweaters. Baby, we got them, and we have multiple colors. All of our stuff is unisex. So go get you one, your girlfriend, your granddaddy, your kids, I was going to say dog. We ain't got stuff for no dogs or nothing like that. But yeah, everybody, okay? Go get it. The hats, unisex. Go get it now. This color combo, not on the website yet, but I've already had somebody messaging me like, can I get one? Yes, you can. Just DM me if you're interested. They'll be on the website soon. A ton of new merch, y'all. I am still on cloud nine from what happened in September. We had our 3-year anniversary shopping party and celebration, and y'all just showed up and showed out. We debuted so much new merch, y'all, and it's all on the website. Every single piece of merch that was brand new to y'all at that event has finally made it to the website. And yes, you want to go get it before it sells out. And yes, we will be participating again this year in Black Friday. And it's going to be a real Black Friday. Like, it's going to be lit. So if you're not on the email list, if you're not on our text list, part of the VIP Soul Tribe family, go ahead and do that. You're going to get a gift. It's going to be 15% off to shop on our website anytime you want. So you get a reward. You know, we appreciate y'all. So go sign up so you'll be the first to know what's going on. Sometimes we be having like little secret sales and stuff. So I'm going to just let you know you want to be over there even way before Black Friday. So that's coming up. Stay tuned for that. And lastly, I'm so excited. We debuted this information at our 3-year anniversary event as well. Shout out to Terrill, who's coming on the podcast in a few minutes. He was there. Thank you for your support and for coming through. I see your people are in the chat. Like, y'all are here and waiting to see and hear his story. Shout out to y'all. It's so important to have community around you. And I'm glad that you have that, Terrill. We have a brand affiliate program now. What does that mean? We've had a lot of ambassadors from day one. Shout out to the day ones, okay? But now you get to get paid for your people using your code to buy our merch. Anybody can join it. And all you got to do is go sign up. What is the website? Lord have mercy. If you go to our website, at the very bottom, I think in the left-hand corner, you'll see brand affiliate application or something like that. But I think there's also a drop down in our menu on the top as well. I think it's on the contact drop down, and then it says brand affiliate sign up or something like that. But go get signed up. People been getting these coins, okay? We pay out starting at, once you reach $50, we start paying out, okay? But you get 10% for each sale made using your code. I'm a brand affiliate for multiple companies. Easy money, passive money. Share it with people that you know and love on social media. When they shop, just give them your code and you get paid. So excited to bring that to y'all. All right, I know I've been talking a lot. Let's bring my boy Terrill in here. You can always shop our website at soulriseessentials.com. Merch for you and your entire family to spread good vibes and promote mental wellness. Okay. Last thing, for real. I always issue a trigger warning. This is a serious podcast, but we have a good time discussing serious topics. And so there may be some things shared today on this episode or in the future, in the past, that could be triggering to you. And so take care of yourself. If you need to exit, if you need to pause, you need to come back, you never want to come back, we understand. But the goal is to inspire you and to let you know whatever it is that you're dealing with on your journey, you don't have to do it alone. You're in community, and that if Terrill can get through it, if Soleil can get through it, if Malika can get through it, Malika, I be saying your name wrong because I know another girl that spell it the same way and hers is different. I'm so sorry. I love you, girl. If we can get through it together, that with community, we can get through some tough things. That's what we exist to do, but you still have to take care of yourself. So in the midst of learning, in the midst of being encouraged, take care of yourself. Okay. So we just want to issue a trigger warning there. There have been plenty of professionals in the mental health space that have come on this show. When they come on this show, they are a human, a thriver, someone just sharing their lived experience. But today, we're just thrivers, humans sharing our lived experience. Even if you see professionals on here, we're not doctors trying to diagnose anything or give you any advice. This is entertainment purposes only, and encouragement purposes only. If you have a mental health story or resilient story to share, I would love to hear from you to see if it's a good fit. You can email us at mystory@soulriseessentials.com. That's SOL riseessentials.com. We'll set up a quick interview call, pre-interview, make sure it's a good fit, and get you on the calendar. Okay, for real, I think that's the last announcement. If you are watching the replay right now, drop it down below in the comments, #replay, or leave us some sunshine emoji so we know that you are rocking with us. Okay, Terrill, your time, showtime. Through those announcements. I know, child. It's a talk show. We're going to move from calling it a podcast to a talk show. Y'all know I can talk, baby. And I got to update y'all. I only see y'all once a month. Oh, new mug alert. New mug alert. You see the yellow. Boom, boom. You see it. What's up, my friend?
Hello, how you doing?
I'm great. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Good. Thank you for coming on the podcast. Welcome to the Soul Seats. It is a pleasure to have you. Before we get into the conversation, I just wanted to ask you a quick question. It's a little deep. I know you weren't expecting
Yeah,
this
good.
before your introduction. Actually, no. Let me let you introduce yourself first. Tell the people who you are. Oh, one of your children is here. They said, "Love you, Dad." Your uncle, your nieces, your nephews. I love that.
Yeah, yes, I have, yes. Well, my name's Terrill Snead. I don't mind. I'll be 55 in December 5th. And I've pretty much lived a pretty full life, and I've had some very good things happen to me in my life, and had some very tragic things happen to me in my life. Right now I'm retired. I I dabble in some different things. I do photography. I'm writing a book, and I do slam poetry, and I mean, just a few different things that I'm doing now. But mostly, I'm just trying to live the best life I can. From the experiences I had.
Yes, I love that. I don't know if you noticed, but in the flyer for the episode, I put "living your life like it's golden" because you've been through some things, like you said, but it's been a lot of great things that have happened in the midst of all of that, and I actually relate to that. Sometimes, oh, there's background noise there. Can you hear it?
Is it on me or is it
I don't
you?
know. It sounds like it's coming from the background, but I only hear it once in a while. I can't hear it right now.
Okay.
Y'all let us know in the comments how we doing on sound. But thanks for sharing that. I don't know if you noticed that I put that in there, but I can relate to that. Like a lot of things happening really good, then some traumatic things happening at the same time. It can really create this interesting dynamic in life. But I'm excited to have you here to share your story. We met as strangers through a
Yeah.
friend of another friend, and just instantly clicked, and you shared some things with me because the shoes that you had on like really caught my attention. We were at
Yeah.
an
Yeah.
event and I'm like, I like your shoes. And then you started telling me why you had the shoes on. So tell the people about, well, actually, before we get into that, I need to scale it back because I get too excited.
Okay.
um,
Okay.
I'll talk more about how me and Terrill. No, let me finish that. We met at an event, and we just started chatting. I'm like, you got to come on my podcast. People have to hear like your story and just how you've been able to migrate through life and put a positive spin on what you've been through. And
Yeah.
like you said, just roll with the cards you've been dealt. Honoring where you've been, the loss, and also standing where you are now. You've made it through some really tough times. So kudos to you, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, the shoes. When we talk about the shoes, they were Coach shoes, and they had a rainbow color. So it's a C's, and you asked me, but you like my shoes, and I started explaining to you about my daughter. My daughter Christine, she will be 35 this January, January 25th, but she passed January 18th, 2020. And her name is Christine, so I like the shoe because it has just C's on it. It was Coach, but to me, it was for her. And also, my daughter's gay, so the rainbow colors also just gave me a connection to her. So that's why I had those shoes on.
Yeah, they were dope. And I when you told me everything that you just said, I thought that was beautiful. Do you feel like that's something you would have worn had she still been here with us in the physical? Is that a way you would have supported her?
Yes, yeah, it is something that I probably would have worn if she was still here, like you said, physically, this and that. I always supported, her in every way as far as, everything positive.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to just jump back and forth, but once we get to talking some more, she struggled with addiction, and that's how she lost her life. Um, so, I anything that was positive, and I thought, her being out and being open and being who she was and being able to be just be, the authentic Christine. I loved that. So, I mean, I encouraged it. I loved it. I enjoyed, who she was and the joy she brought. I got a tattoo on my arm here on my forearm with her thumbprint. It's a large thumbprint, and she used to say "High Five Life," and that was one of her little things. So I have that, and I have that in rainbow colors as well on my arm, just in honor
That's
of her.
so beautiful. And I love to hear like whatever you celebrate your daughter, whatever that looks like. And I think a lot of people don't experience that being in the LGBT community. And so just wanted to give a hats off to you for just loving your child as is. Because at the end of the day, like we talk about on this podcast, you need support, you need love, you need community. And that should start with your family.
Yeah.
And a lot of people just don't have that. So I commend you. I think that's what drew me to your story even more. Having found out your daughter passed away in the way she did, it struck a chord with me. And that's a huge loss as a father. Most people, I was watching a podcast this morning when I was getting ready, and they talked about like, typically, you don't outlive your children. That's not something that's not something that you've experienced. Well, that is something you've experienced. You've outlived your child, and that's hard. So I'm just inspired by your story. I want to ask you a question, getting back to the deep question I was supposed to ask you. Since it's a mental health podcast, how is your mental health in this moment on a scale from 1 to 5? 5 being the highest, 1 being the lowest.
I would say I'm probably like at about a 3, and then it fluctuates from sometimes from minute to minute, sometimes from day to day. But I'm at a good place. I'm not even when I'm now at a 2 with the people that I surround myself with, I feel safe. So it's not a matter of me going to a point where I don't feel safe or I don't feel, supported. I feel all those things with the people that I surround myself with. Just some days just harder than others. I told you about the loss of my daughter, and I think we also talked about, I lost my mother. My mother and my brother were murdered, and my daughter is named after my mother. So, it all kind of just, so different times of year, different TV shows, different songs, sometimes just waking up on the wrong side or the right side the wrong way, triggers these things and it can set you off emotionally and feel. But if you have the right people around you who understand those things, it's going to be most times it's going to be a good day, whether you're a 1 or a 5.
Yeah, that's so good. Thank you for sharing that. So I don't know if you've watched any past episodes, but we do different segments here. The first segment we went through was, how are you feeling today? How's your mental health? The second one I like to do is called mindful breathing. Do you practice any type of mindful breathing techniques?
Not regularly. I'm a veteran, so when through the VA, I do some group therapy and different things like that, and we do some breathing therapy and different things like that. But as far as on a regular on my own, I don't practice it a lot.
Okay, well, I would love if you would join me in what I like to call box breathing. This is something that I do not only on the podcast, just before we get into these topics, but mindful breathing. There's so many different techniques, but this one for me is just very easy. It's accessible. It's quick. You can do it when you're in conversation with people. They don't even know you have to be doing it, right? It's very subtle, but it resets your nervous system in a very relaxing way. And so I do it here because the things that we talk about can be, like you said, traumatic on you, on the people listening, but we're just recentering ourselves before we get deep into the conversation. So the way I like to do it, they call it box breathing. And so I do counts of 4. I inhale counts of 4, and then I hold for 4, and then I release for 4 seconds as well. And so they call it box breathing because you can kind of see, you can, I guess, envision a box while you're doing it. But hopefully you feel good afterwards. And it's something that I like to introduce to people that may have not heard of it, but it's so accessible and it's one of my favorite things to do. I remember when I was getting in trouble and going through my own mental health challenges in my early 20s, and people be like, just breathe, just breathe. I'm like, I'm breathing. What are you talking about? But mindful breathing is so different. And now that I have language and education around mental health in my brain and what mindful, slow breathing does to your nervous system and your brain and just overall health and mental health, I'm more intentional about it. So there's a lot of things that we can do to improve our mental health, but this is an easy thing that you could just think of. It's like, oh, I got breath in my body. Wherever I'm at, I can do it. I don't need any other tools. So please join me. And if you're in the comments or watching the replay, join us as well. I just want to make sure you guys can hear me. I don't know why there's like feedback. I can only hear it when I'm talking. So I just want to make sure you guys are not hearing that as well. Once I hear from y'all, we going to hop into it. You cool with that, Terrill?
Yes, you're saying?
Yay. Thanks for being open to it with me. Let us know in the comments, y'all. I'm gonna take a water break. All right, well, we'll go ahead and hop to it. Okay, all right, Cousin African says I can hear. Appreciate you. All right, so just close your eyes and just relax in your seat or on the floor, wherever you're sitting at. And we're going to breathe in. We're going to breathe in for 4. 1, 2, and 3. 4, and hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. And exhale. 2, 3, 4. One more time. I'm going to do that 4 times. And in. Hold. And exhale. Let's go in for number 3. In. And hold. Exhale. All right, this is the last one. Let's make it count. Let's do it slow, because once you release that exhale, you feel so relaxed. Breathe in. Hold. And release. I don't know about you, but I be feeling so zen after that. How you feel?
Feels good. Feels good.
Good. Thank you for that. Let's get into your story, Terrill. How
Okay.
old are you again?
I'll be 55 in December.
You did say 55. Happy early birthday. So,
Yes.
young Terrill, what was it like being you as a kid?
Well, growing up, there was I was raised my mother, a two-parent household, and my stepfather. My stepfather met my mother when I was not even a year old, as far as I know. And then there was 4 boys. Back then, it seemed like we had a pretty good life. I mean, today we would probably be considered poor, but back then we had a pretty good life. We slept in the same bed, like good times. Me and my brothers on a pull-out couch and different things. And my father's very strict. My mother was a hard worker. And I remember at 5 years old, my mother was pregnant with my younger brother, and my father was shot. And I remember him being in the hospital and things like that. So, but to come straight out, my father was considered a gangster years ago. I mean, he really was. He had a place where he worked and he did some things, and he's even mentioned in a couple of books. And when he met my mother, I guess my mother kind of took him away from that lifestyle. And that's, I guess my younger life. But I was really in the theater when I was younger. I I thought I was going to be everybody. A lot of young kids got movie stars, or they have sports stars that they looked after. And I thought I was going to be like an actor or a singer or a dancer.
Really?
When I was younger, yes. And I started doing some shows. I got saw by this producer, and I started doing like off-Broadway shows and dinner theaters and different things like that. And it kind of dried up, I guess, when I was around 12 or 13 years old. And then and that's when I really got into sports. And sports really kind of took over my life that time.
Where are you from, by the way?
I'm from Reading, Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's a small city in Pennsylvania. It used to be a big town with the railroads and like outlets and things like that. My father passed when I was 14. My stepfather, I remember getting called out of school. So I kind of knew like some of this, I got hit with some of these tragedies, some of these things at a young age.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember sitting on my dad's lap put my finger in the bullet holes where he got shot. And
Mm.
then I remember when my mom called me out of school when I was 14. I got called out of class down to the office because my father had a stroke and he wanted to pass it a few days later when I was 14. And then when I got really into sports, I kind of took the way of sports. My father was Me and my brothers had a different relationship with my father. My father, I was a baby for a lot of years, so I didn't see like a hard side of him. I saw a strict side of him, but I didn't see a hard side of him. But yeah, other people in our family, different things that they always say, like, about role models. I feel like sometimes my role models were the people that I didn't want to be.
Mm.
It's not always somebody who you want to be
Wow.
or be like. Sometimes your role model can be who you don't want to
Wow.
be. This makes you a better person. So I wound up going to high school and playing sports and everything else, and got out of high school. Everybody thought I really was going to go either in the theater or go to college for sports or whatever, and I wound up joining the Marine Corps when I was 17.
Wow.
And spend I spent 7 years in the Marine Corps. I was in Desert Shield, Desert Storm, and I also served in a operation called Operation Sharp Edge, and over in Monrovia, Liberia, in Africa. And so that was kind of my younger years. I shot my mom, and my mother. My father passed away. They were separated, and they got divorced, and then my father passed away. But my mother was basically a single mother of 5 boys.
Wow.
My two older brothers were in college, and I just thought about what I wanted to do and different things like that. And I joined the Marine Corps. I don't know. I thought I was kind of doing the right thing, and also like taking the burden off my mother as far as financially and being responsible for me. At 17, I joined. In I guess 1987, I graduated high school and I went into the Marine Corps October 1987. And I just wanted to take that off of her. I didn't want her to have that responsibility of another son going to college and all the different things like that.
Yeah.
I had my own selfish reasons too. I struggled with some things. I was somebody who I liked routine, and I liked where I went to high school. There's only like 4 or 5 black kids in our school, so that was kind of tough. There's a lot of racism and different things that went on, and different things that I saw. I thought joining the Marine Corps was going to be like going to a place where you have to follow the rules, where everybody's going to be a good person. Equality was going to be a thing, and you can you don't have to worry about just bad people or things going wrong.
Yeah.
Like in the military, they're going to make you do right.
Yeah.
Well, I learned the hard way.
Wow. You are the
Yeah.
second Marine, I think second or third actually. 2 months ago, there was a young lady who I was so impressed by, Taniki. She's in the military. She was in the Marine Corps as well. And she said her story involved something very similar where, she went as a place of safety, solitude, financial reprieve, and some things happened there that really changed her life. You're the second person that said that.
Yeah. I mean, you really kind of find out, like they said, people, a uniform doesn't change who you are.
That's right.
And that's sometimes it makes you more of who you are.
That's right.
And so, yes.
Yeah.
So when I got out of the Marine Corps, I've been through some things in the Marine Corps, and I wound up getting out with some mental health. At the time they called it depression. Now it's called PTSD. And I got out with that, but I was able to function. I wasn't, wasn't really holding me back. I had a little bit of medication and different things like that. And I immediately got out of the Marine Corps, and I got into the Juvenile Justice Commission in New Jersey. My brother was a supervisor there. I had 2 brothers that were working there, and I worked in the Juvenile Justice Commission. I actually worked with juvenile sex offenders.
Wait,
Yeah.
So these were underage people that had these offenses already?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, they had some. It was strong. It was really not to digress, kind of hit me hard because another, in my history, I'm going to say some things that my kids might. Two of my kids are on here, but I want to be, as organic and as authentic as I can be. I was sexually abused by a family member when I was, younger, probably from the age like as long as I can remember until I was like 10 or 11 years old, maybe even 12, and so it kind of hit me a different way, working in this position, but it also let me see another side of it. That once again, it's like this is not what I want to be. So I did that for a while. I worked with the Juvenile Justice Commission. I worked with them, and then I went to juvenile. I worked in juvenile parole for a while, and then I was a drill instructor at a juvenile boot camp. It's called shock incarceration. I did that for a while, and all these things kind of kept me busy, kept my mind busy, and kept me pushing forward because I was helping people.
Yeah.
I was supporting people and I was helping people, and I thought I was just doing a thing. And then I got into adult corrections, and then more into the law enforcement side of it.
Before you get into that,
yes,
I wanted to ask you a question about your experience in the juvenile justice system. I didn't realize that it was that demographic of juveniles you were working with.
Yes.
Was that the only demographic you work with, or was it kids just in there getting in trouble? Did you also work in a different arm of juvenile justice, or just that part?
Yeah, well, initially it was just sex offenders, and that program was literally just sex offenders. But when I broke away from that, the juvenile parole and the shock incarceration program, what they call shock incarceration is like a boot camp, and they would put these kids through a boot camp. If you had less than a 3-year sentence, you could go to boot camp for 6 months, and then you would be paroled the rest of your time for 2.5 years. And all kinds of crimes. They couldn't have serious violent crimes because it was a minimum security program. But I got kids from all walks of life, from possession to selling, to theft, carjacking and different things all over the state of New Jersey. So I got to deal with those kids and put them through a program that gave them responsibility, gave them accountability, and gave them some kind of discipline, to take with them. I got letters and plenty of different things from the old recruits or the kids that I worked with who thanked me or thanked the program for starting their life over.
Actually, that's where my next question was going to go to. I was going to ask you, did you meet kids like me? Because I had an experience in the juvenile justice system as well, and I wanted to know exactly what you just said. Have you? I know you don't live in Jersey anymore, but seen any cases where it's like you just had a little hiccup, you had to stop here for a bit, and hopefully it changed the trajectory in a positive direction? Did you work with a lot of those kids too?
Yes. There's a lot of kids who made mistakes, or we had a kid who just to be how kind of minimal it was, he hit somebody in the head with a snowball.
Oh.
And got probation and violated his probation and got a 2-year sentence. You know what I'm saying? So, so he wound up going through the boot camp.
Did that happen at school by chance? Do you know if that happened at school or in his neighborhood?
In his neighborhood.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Neighborhood. Yeah, I remember that specifically because we were like, wow, you're here for a snowball.
Yeah. I was getting to that whole school to prison pipeline that people don't really know about unless they know about it. So I was curious if it happened like at the school playground or something like that.
No, but that's a serious thing, that, what you said, that, the school to prison pipeline, because they start getting these kids so young and criminalizing normal behavior.
Exactly.
Or childish behavior.
Childish behavior is actually really a good way to put that. I experienced that myself.
Yes.
Man, you have lived so many lives, yo. I didn't even know about the whole juvenile justice thing.
Yes.
I wanted to ask you something as well. Moving to, after you went through the juvenile justice system, working with them, what did you go on to do after that? What did life look like after that phase?
Well, after the juveniles, I went to adult. And I started working with adults and different things. I got into corrections. The thing about New Jersey, though, if you're law enforcement, you can work. I mean, you're law enforcement. Everybody carries a gun. You make arrests. Even correction officers. I know down here in Virginia, I guess they do it differently, but we have correction officers in New Jersey who might be on loan to the major crimes of like the county, or might be on loan to different departments, and you can work in different departments and do different things, or you could go outside of the correction department to work. So I got into corrections, but I didn't really want to work inside the jail. So I worked in the jail for a small part of time, and then I started getting into the community and the community things, and start working in the community. I started I had a gang program that I started. Well, when we started, now what I was trying to do is it was called Get Smart, Gang Education and Training. And what I was trying to do was not necessarily talk to the kids, but teach educators and people how to talk to these kids.
Yeah.
And how to notice the signs of kids that are being in gangs, and how to deal with them and how to approach them. And then I did that for a while, and I was part of the emergency response team. And ultimately, I wanted to be an instructor, and I wanted to be an instructor at the academy. That's where I finished my career at. But during that time, during my career, I had my younger brother. I have one younger brother. He was having some run-ins with the law. He was the one, where my father kind of passed away before he was able to instill that discipline in him, and that moral, fiber into him. And he was getting in some trouble, selling drugs and different things like that. And it doesn't tell the whole story of his life, but that's the story that was on the front page.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So I was dealing with that, and we were dealing with that. But what it did, I think, when I went to corrections, it also made me a better officer, law enforcement officer, dealing with people, because I know how I would want my brother to be treated.
Yeah.
And
I'm starting to see a theme here with the career opportunities that you've had.
Yeah.
You've actually had a chance to help yourself, like in every aspect. So with the essay that you experienced as a child, you went on unknowingly. It's like it just kind of happened to help and understand other children that were offenders, and kind of see, their perspective and maybe why they were the way they were, and other kids that probably have gone through the same thing, help them as well. And then now, like you talked about your brother getting in trouble, you went into corrections with adults as well, teaching educators and just people in the community how to deal with kids in gangs and stuff like that. So you've been like this mediator, which I actually find very interesting. I don't know if you ever thought about that.
No, I didn't. But I mean, what you're saying is, I guess it's something like that. Because when you talk about the sex offenders, the children that were sex offenders, all of them were offended, were victims at one time. And like I said to myself, I looked at myself. Now, by the time I went there, I had 2 children. When I got out of the Marine Corps, I was 24, and I got married really young. I got married when I was 19, and I had 2 children by the time I was 22. And I just, I saw them, and I just knew that, that I was going to make a conscious effort, even if I wasn't like that, to make sure I wasn't going to become that, because I wasn't like, cause they say, that chain. And sometimes you're like, well, I don't want to be like them. Everybody who's like, almost everybody who's been an offender has been a victim at some time.
For sure. Yeah.
So
It's almost kind of like, I don't know if you've ever heard the term nowadays, people use it a lot. You're healing your inner child, in a sense.
Yeah.
It seems like you've been able to do that in multiple ways in different career paths. So that's something I find interesting about you as well. And it's like you never even made that connection, but that's what I'm hearing here as well.
Yeah, it was. It stays in my mind. I mean, I think about a lot of these people that I dealt with. I think about them a lot of times, and I can see their faces, and remember talking to them, and them talking to me, and things like that.
What you shared about your PTSD diagnosis, and thank you for sharing that. I loved how you so openly talk about these experiences in your life and what has happened to you as a result of those experiences. I'm not sure if this is another connection that you've not made, but what I've grown to learn, even though I don't have credentials or designators behind my name in terms of a psychology degree or mental health degree, I've gone through my own journey. I've sat here and I've listened to so many people's journey, and there's always a root. You know, we don't just wake up with these diagnoses, right? You've been through quite a lot of traumatic events, and our brain starts to respond to that. And so when you wake up, you know, you've gone through combat, you've gone through the military training, you've gone through tragic loss. You know, your mom and your brother were murdered, and your daughter, you lost your, you know, that's traumatic. And it's a lot of stuff building on top. And it's actually a term out there, they call it like complex trauma. Because it's so many different things kind of piling on top of each other, and our brains just respond to what we've been through. And I really like looking at mental health through that lens, because then it humanizes you and makes you realize that even though I have this diagnosis, this is a normal response to trauma, and then complex trauma at that. So it takes that weight off of you where you're like, I'm crazy or something's wrong with me. No, you got 1 + 1 and it equals 2. This and this equals that, and your brain and your body is responding to that. So I don't know if you ever made that connection, but I love hearing when people come on my podcast or talk show and share these traumatic events, but also connect like a diagnosis to it. I don't love hearing that. I hate to say it like that, but it helps. It makes sense to people who don't know about mental health. I've been told by people, actually somebody in your age group, to my face, that mental health was not real. But I know that that's from their understanding, because they look at trauma and survival as just a way of life. But now we have more language, and you know, more doctors are talking about this, and more research is coming out about all of this stuff. And that's the stuff that I'm geeked out about. I read about, I listen to podcasts about, I follow doctors and neuroscientists, and they give us language and help us make sense of all of this stuff. So yeah, I don't know if you've made like those connections where it's like, you know, we go through some things and our brains get affected by that. Have you ever thought about that?
Yes, definitely. Just to speak on what you just said right there, I kind of feel like I was kind of, you know, to myself, I don't speak about it out loud, but I am going to now. Like, if I wouldn't have went through what I went through with my mother and my brother, I don't know if I could have taken what went through with my daughter. It almost kind of like, I don't say prepared me, but allowed me to be like, well, I got through that, I can get through this. It almost, you know, and not everybody has as many tragedies that I've, you know, unfortunately that I've had with that. But it almost as if you're, you know, you never get used to it. It never feels okay. But it gives you kind of like, well, this is what I did last time. And it worked, you know. And tragedy comes to everybody in different ways, you know. I mean, and I'm not trying to minimize, and I'll never minimize my daughter's death, or my mom, my brother, and other things like that. But the most important person to somebody else is their dog. Or the most important thing to somebody else is, you know, a friend that they had or whatever. It ain't always a family member or someone you live with, or actually even a human being. But to them, that tragedy feels like, you know, the world's coming to an end.
That's so good. That's so good. And
so
loss, I said it. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I said earlier, I did like a promo before we got on here, and I said, loss is loss is loss is loss. Like you said, if it's your turtle, that was your best friend, and you feel like that was the only person that loved you, or your dog. I don't like that we minimize, and I'm just going to say this because I've had these conversations so much, these intergenerational conversations. I'm in my 30s, you're in your 50s. I love having people, I shout out Mrs. Green, come on in her 60s, and she's having aha moments and like, whoa, and Miss Beth, she just had a birthday, shout out to Miss Beth. They come on, we get to have these learning aha moments. It doesn't matter. Age is not always a factor with what we can learn from each other. We can all learn from each other. And so when you have these aha moments and you're sharing, you're like, you know what, I never knew that, but now I know that. Instead of being defensive, and because you may be older, you're like, well, y'all young people don't know what y'all talking about. We don't know everything, but we do know what we know. And vice versa. There should be a respect level between both generations, to where we're both valuable, we're both humans, we're both living through this thing, and we're learning together. It shouldn't really matter how old you are. Like you can always learn something from somebody.
Oh, definitely. Because I think about when I was, you know, when my mother and my brother murdered, I guess in 2000, and I was going through that, different things, and then a few years later, my biological father died of cancer, and then a few years later, my sister died of HIV, and and I'm going through these things. I'm like, damn, I'm like 30 something years old, and I have lived like 5 lifetimes
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
like death and then my daughter, when I turned 50, I turned 50 years old, and my daughter, and I'm like, you can't tell me that 30-year-old or my 30-something-year-old didn't know
Come
about
on.
death or more, or more about death or how to heal
Yeah.
yourself than someone who's
Come
70.
on.
You know what I mean? It don't make a difference. You have to find a way to not to live life and heal your wounds.
Yeah, we
I
can't
used to tell those kids,
minimize
go
other
ahead.
people's
Yes,
experiences. We
yeah,
can't do that. And I think that that's what that person was trying to do. Is like, y'all soft. We had to get up
yeah,
and do this. Da, da, da.
yeah.
Yeah, you did that. And it's affecting you to this day, even your mindset. And this
Mhm.
particular person, I'm like, hearing all these other stories they were telling me. And, I listen, I'm linking, making connections. And I'm like, okay, that's why your child do this. And that's why they act like that. And that's why they don't talk to you. You know what I'm saying? So you can say it ain't real all you want. But even if you are not recognizing the signs and the effects of your mental health because of this traumatic stuff you've been through, then it's somebody gonna show it in your family line. And
Oh
there's
yeah,
also
definitely.
people, like you said, Terrill, that come to heal it because we putting it on Front Street. We can't heal what we're not dealing with and what we're not talking about.
Yes, yes. No, I mean, you come to heal, and you gotta be able to live life
That's
with it.
it.
And I would tell my kids when I put them in the boot camp and I did all the other stuff. I'm like, you can't put on like when you fill out an application, there's not one spot on there that says, you know, was your mom a
Mm,
single mother, or it doesn't say was your dad in
mm,
jail, or there's nothing on your resume where you can put in that I was sexually abused
mm.
or so and so called, they were racist or like
Wow.
you got to be able to compete in this world and live in this world, regardless of what baggage you have and what you have with you. You're just
Yo,
gonna have to learn how to carry it,
that is
or
so
you gotta,
good.
or put it down and go out and live in the world and pick it up when you get back home and deal with it. But
What we say,
yeah,
Terrell, pack light. What my head say?
yeah,
Pack
yeah, there you
light.
go.
We learn how to carry
That's
it,
it.
and we don't
Yeah,
carry it with us wherever we go. And I love how you said you learn to pick it up and put it down. It cannot go with you wherever you go, and it's going to if you don't deal with it. You got to be able to put on that work hat and be like, all right, I ain't letting my mess spill over into everybody today. I'm having a bad day. Something happened to me last week, last year. I'm gonna deal with that, but take that hat off, put this hat on while I'm here with these people. And when I need to go back home, I'm gonna put that healing hat back on and figure it out. We got to work through
yeah,
it, but we also have to figure out how to not bleed on people that did not cut us. That is so good.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's and the people around you, you don't got to share the intricate things, but the people that you love and to love you and who are there to support you, they got to know they got to know why you are who you are and what's
That's
going on with you.
it.
Like, you don't got to get specific and tell intricate things because some things is very personal and embarrassing and sometimes, and things like that. But, like you need to talk about those things. So, because if not, it's going to come out in other ways.
Absolutely. It
And,
always
and,
does.
you know, and you don't want them to think that
Yeah.
it's them. I mean, my wife is incredible.
Mm.
And the things that she's stood by me and the things that she's gone through with me and has cried with me, laughed with me, I mean, with my daughter, I met her, it was crazy. I met her during the trial of my mother and brother. That's when I
Mm.
met her doing that.
Your
And
wife, you said?
yes,
Okay.
so I met her during the trial of my mother and brother. And once the trial was over, I really I mean, even though I was working, but I went to the trial every single day. It took 5 years for the trial to come, and then the trial came, and the trial was maybe a couple of months long. But I went every single day. I went to court every single day. When it was over, like for those 5 years, all I anticipated was the trial, and then going to the trial and finding these 3 guys guilty who killed my mother and my brother. But when it was over, it was kind of like, what do I do now? Like,
Yeah.
it was like, I had something to motivate me and to fight for and to push for, But then I remember, I mean, I got 4 children, and I got my wife, and I got these other, I got to take care. There's other things in life I got to take care of. I have, 4 amazing kids, and my wife, and some great friends that I've had since high school and things, and
Yeah.
um, they all support me in their own way. But they got to know what's going on with you,
That's right.
at least a little bit, a little something. They got to talk about it.
That's right. I wanted to read a couple comments real quick.
Mhm.
Your niece, Vivacious V, says, "You are so incredibly loved, Uncle Terrill." Your wifey says, "You are amazing. I'm so proud of you and I love you so much." Oh, I love that. I love it.
Yeah,
Man, this is great. We don't have that much time
yeah,
left because Instagram likes to cut us off. And so I'm going to use the
true.
next 10 or so minutes to switch gears a little bit. Before we do that, I want to just honor your daughter, your mother, and your brother. I'm sure that you think about them often, and you in your spirit, I'm sure, represents who they were in some way. And so, although I don't know them, I'm happy to know you. And I'm happy that you are finding a way to still live a life worth living. And your support system is showing out. First of all, are you the cousin of, Ty from Dreams and Scenes that does the t-shirts? Are you
Here's some
are
scene.
you his uncle? Dreams and Scenes. It says, "Hi, Uncle T, a wonderful human." I know Dreams and Scenes. Don't I know y'all? Or is that somebody
That's
else?
somebody,
Okay, I think that's somebody
yeah,
else. I thought I
yeah,
was
that's
going to say,
somebody
are
else.
you
Yeah.
the uncle of somebody that I know? My bad. Anyway,
No, no, no.
um, I think your daughter or son is saying, "Love you, Dad." Dreams and Scenes says,
Yeah,
"Hi, Uncle T, a wonderful human." These people that have shown up for you today, that's a true testament to who you are as a person, as an uncle, as a father, as a husband, all of that. So I'm just incredibly proud of you. And I just want to thank you for agreeing to come on the podcast and being so open. I love when men come on the podcast and just share, and are honest about what they've been through, are honest about what they're going through. But also, when we put this positive spin on it, we're going to talk about how you got through and how you getting through. And your community is one of those ways I'm sure you're doing that. So shout out to Terrell's Soul Tribe. Y'all are amazing people. I
yes,
wanted
yes,
to,
definitely.
in honoring your loved ones that you tragically lost, I wanted to talk about your daughter a little bit more before we switch gears because she passed away from a fentanyl overdose. Are there things that you can say to parents that may be experiencing this, or maybe even signs that their child may be using or going through some things, whatever it is on your heart to share about that? I would love for you to shine light on that.
Yeah. What's really hard with me and my daughter is that, like, I really thought she was at a point where, you know, I kind of let my guard down a little bit. I saw her Thanksgiving and my birthday, my 50th birthday. I went to go see her. Me and my wife lived in the Dominican Republic for a few years, and we flew back to go see her, and we thought everything was okay, and I kind of just let my guard down because when they have that addiction, it's going to be there forever. It's never going to go away, and you need to keep asking them, "Are you okay?" Keep on them and pushing them, um, even when they're in recovery, as if they're still doing it.
Yeah.
Not in such a maybe not in such a as passionate way, but like I kind of let my guard down. I really thought that she was okay, and it wasn't. But 2 weeks after I left her in Miami from visiting her, that she OD'd. She had a fight with her girlfriend, and I mean, we go back to what we used, like our
That's
old
right.
habits, or when things get to be trouble, instincts kick in.
Yeah. That's right.
You know, and if you can't train yourself with new instincts, the old one's going to kick in. And she went back to that fentanyl, and I mean, I can truly say I'm not sure if it was on an accident or not.
Yeah.
Because did she take enough that she knew that was going to hurt her, or was it she was so clean for so long,
Yeah.
her normal dose of what she used to take killed her. There's a lot of different things. I mean, instincts are instincts, and instincts that are learned is training, and you need to train your body to have these instincts to take care of those things. But I would say, as parents, like don't let your guard down. They are going to have that addiction for the rest of their lives. And it doesn't mean you gotta, badger them and push, and always tap on their shoulder. But just remind them that you're there and that you love them and that they're, that if they need anything. I feel like my daughter a lot of times was afraid to tell me things, not because she was afraid of me, because she was ashamed.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like, it's a double-edged sword. Like you want your kids to be afraid of getting in trouble or doing the wrong things and ashamed of certain things, hopefully so they don't do it. But you don't want them to be afraid or ashamed enough that they feel like they can't speak to you. You got to have that door open. And yeah, I'm upset with you. I'm annoyed with you, but I'm going to support you.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember getting my daughter. I mean, she probably went through 10 rehabs that I got her into, throughout the years. And I would have got her into 10 more if I had, if I could have. It's hard. It's really hard, because she made it 2 weeks. She died 2 weeks before she turned 30. So it's rough. It's tough.
Yeah.
My firstborn, my mother's first grandchild. She was very close to my mother, and I think that's what started the ball rolling.
Yeah.
With her when my mother died, and the way my mother died, kind of hit her the hardest because she was named after her. She was the oldest. She'd been around her the longest, and it just took a toll on her more than anybody. So.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I had to do a little segment to honor her because that's what started this whole thing. This has been amazing. I knew it was going to be a great interview, and I didn't realize you would be as transparent as you are, which I always encourage. So thank you for that. A couple more comments. That was Jillian, your niece Jillian, and also Suga G says, yes, so many good takeaways from this interview. Uncle Terrill is so knowledgeable. I absolutely agree. Terrill, you used to be a private investigator too, and I just want to know if I need your services, can I call you? I know you're retired, but I'm just trying to see something.
Oh yeah. I did private investigations for about 6-7 years, and I loved it. I really did. It was, before I left I loved it. But after a while, I just couldn't do it anymore. It got too personal. Some things, I did a lot of matrimonial stuff where, like child custody and things.
Yeah.
But there was parents are fighting over and accusing each other of sexual assault, and I got involved. I did investigated a couple of murders and different things like that, and it just got to be too personal, too close to home that I couldn't focus and keep it together enough to do the right job, to do the job.
Another connection that I just made with you, the whole investigation and trial with your mother and your brother. That PI thing came on out too, because that probably was like something that really got your wheels turning. I just love making those connections with your story. You got so much. I want to ask you one last question. What do you do in terms of keeping yourself whole, healthy, mentally well, even on those challenging days? Are you writing? Are you still doing poetry? What do you do?
Well, I still write my poetry. I'm writing a book now. It's nonfiction. I mean, it is fiction. I'm sorry, fiction. And I mean, I do photography. I love to take pictures. We travel a lot. Me and my wife travel a lot. Try to get to different environments, new places. Like I said, we moved out of the country for a couple of years. I recently just got a dog, and he keeps me busy. His name is Rudy. We rescued him. He has 3 legs. He lost his leg. But writing's the big thing for me, and just trying to be there for my family in different ways. Everybody does things in different ways. Some people it's all financially. Some people it's all just emotionally. I'm still the parent, and I'm still trying to help my kids learn and grow.
Yeah.
And you'll always be their parent.
Yeah.
My oldest son is 32. We're starting to get to that point where we're becoming more friends, because I feel like he's reached that point where he You know, he is on his own. You know, I mean, and you say 32, but you know, they might live on their own and they might be financially independent, but they still need
Oh
you.
yeah.
You
Always
know,
need our parents. Yeah.
yes,
And
yeah,
I know you
yeah,
take
yeah,
walks and stuff. When we talked the other day, you were on a walk
yeah,
with Rudy.
yes, yes.
Okay.
Well, I used to box. I mean, I boxed for, you know, and I used to train and different things like that. I kind of, as I get older, I got to cut back on a lot of some of the physical stuff. My body has taken a beating over the years, but yeah, it's. I mean, I got to say, you know, my best resource is my wife,
Mm-hmm.
um, and my children, and you know, and my sister. You know, they really keep me grounded and really keep me, you know, like motivated. And just hearing their voices and talking with them, and you know, I don't see them all the time because they live in New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
But the little times I do see them, but I talk to them, you know, at least one of them almost every day.
That's
So
awesome. Man, this has been great. Shout out to Wifey. She commented on one of our posts. She's
mhm.
here and just shining for you. And I love that. This has been a wonderful episode. I just want to thank you again for being a thriver and for sharing your story. I can't wait to buy the book because you definitely got one heck of a story. I know it's fiction. Did you say it was fake? It's fiction?
Yes, yeah, it's a fictional book. It's I'm writing it. I mean, I'm a few hundred pages in. It's called Hero. It's about a guy who I mean, in so many words, it's kind of everybody thinks he's a hero, but he's actually the bad guy. So that's about it.
Interesting. That's a look. That's
Yeah,
another
yeah,
connection I made. You writing a book. Your dad was mentioning a couple books. Like, come
yeah,
on now. You see the patterns in your life.
yeah,
Terrill,
yeah,
thank you. I'm going to end the episode here and do like some closing announcements, but I just want to thank you for giving me your time and also for attending my 3-year anniversary event. It was wonderful to see you. Hopefully next time I
yeah,
get to meet your beautiful wife, but I'm sure I will be seeing you in these RVA streets, my friend. I really
yeah.
appreciate you and continue to be a thriver and just doing all these amazing things and making the most out of your life and living it like it's golden.
Yes. Well, thank you. I appreciate you. You know, appreciating me and allowing me on your platform.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know how to get out of here?
Uh, I
Just
don't-
hit that X. Just hit that
to
X.
be
Hit that
honest, okay. All right. Well, you have a great day.
You as
Thank you.
well. Thank you so much.
All right.
Y'all, that wraps up episode 37 of Soul Seek Conversations, our mental health podcast for humans on the grow. That was Terrill. I told y'all were going to be inspired. Please send this episode to someone that you know who it will push through and just help them get through whatever it is that they're going through. He is such an impactful person. And to see his entire family spanning across the board from children to nieces and nephews to his wife, that speaks volumes. So shout out to y'all. Thank y'all for joining in today's episode. Again, my name is Soliel Lindsey. I'm the owner of Soul Rise Essentials, where we are shining a light on mental health. And one way we do that is by creating community with this podcast, Soul Seek Conversations. If you made it to the end, drop some sunshine emojis down in the comments, or you can just type hashtag replay and let us know you rocking with us. If this was inspiring to you, let us know that as well. Cousin African says, this was amazing. Much love to Uncle T and Auntie Amy. Love that. Thank y'all for the love. Let's see. They're giving you some more love, 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 love. Thank y'all so much. If you want to see any and all episodes from this podcast, you can go to YouTube and type in Soul Seek Conversations. That's SOL Seek Conversations, or just Soul Rise Essentials. They'll also be on our IG as well. So check that out. Again, if you have a mental health or resilient story to share, you can email us at mystory@soul, that's SOL, riseessentials.com. And lastly, shout out to the Soul Tribe family. Y'all are absolutely amazing. This is just something that really warms my heart. We do it once a month because I'm a busy single solo mama preneur, and it just be too much going on. But we're gonna keep doing this thing once a month. All right. Remember to mind your mind and shine your light. See y'all in the next episode. Peace.